it's Kate from Next Steps. Today I just wanted to show you some of the basic equipment that we use in our group exercise classes, either on site or in our videos that you can do at home too. So we have just a few basic pieces of equipment, and they don't really veer out from this too much. So if you're looking to kind of get some home exercise equipment set up, you can use this as kind of a guide for things that you can use. So depending on different levels of function or ability or dexterity, you might need some different things, so you might not need all of these. But there are things to think about, so especially as the holiday season is approaching, maybe this goes on your wish list. A lot of the stuff shouldn't be really hard to find at all. So we're going to kind of move from one side across to the other. So something that's really easy to find is a pillow. So we use pillows fairly often, either in front if you need a little bit more support. You can put a stack of pillows when you're sitting into your lap if you need that. This also works great as a bolster behind your back. So for example, seated in a chair, you can put this at your backs to help give you a little bit more support up away from the back of your chair. So it's some support, but not as much as just resting into the back of your chair. So side support also, or maybe we're doing some mat work and you're laying down, you want a pillow underneath your head or on your stomach. If you're laying on your stomach, you might want a pillow under your stomach. So handy dandy things, shouldn't be too hard to come by. We also have light free weights. So 1 to 2 pounds. I don't think really we've ever gone ever heavier than like 5 pounds. 5 pounds is pretty heavy for a lot of the exercises that we're doing. So if you don't have free weights, soup cans also work really well. If holding onto these is not so easy and you need a little bit more assistance in that department, you can also find these Velcro cuff weights. So if you search for like ankle weights, for example, you see these come up. And they have just this Velcro strap that goes through a loop. You can also, if you fasten this once, be able to slide that onto your hand without undoing it at all. So it's just a matter of getting your fingertips in there correctly. You might have to brace with one side and just kind of work your way through, but you should be able to kind of get that onto your hand pretty much independently with a little practice. So those come in a variety of sizes, just like the free weights. For example, I think what we have are 1 and 3, and also we have a 5-pound set too, but 1 and 3 should be plenty. In addition to that, if we have some other activities that you need a little bit of grip with, there are a variety of different assistive gloves in here. The particular kind that we just happen to have is called Active Hands. We don't endorse them, we don't get money from them. It's just something that we find useful. So of course, feel free to try different brands. But those, again, maybe you need some assistance with. But they actually go onto your hand so that if you want to hold a weight, it Velcros on like so. We have a couple pairs here, so if you're on site, we can lend some. If you're, for sure you want to use these a lot, then they're a good investment. We've had these for a very long time. They hold up well. You just throw them in the washer too. So that's kind of how it fastens onto your hand. So then, moving on, another super inexpensive, really convenient, multifunctional piece of equipment that we have is just a PVC pole. So this, I think, is this is a 1-inch diameter PVC pole. It's hollow. It's rather lightweight. It's great for if you're going to hold something into your hands, so you're getting some trunk stability by pressing out. You can do some trunk tilting. You can do kayak exercises. You can tie bands to it. You can use these assistive gripping gloves to hold on to it too. So another really versatile piece of equipment that we use. You also have the option of putting some sand inside of these and gluing caps on the end if you wanted to add weight to this and make a weighted pole. Again, a nice way to keep equipment inexpensive and homemade. Then, I have this great stretching strap here too. So again, you can find these anywhere. There's also a way to cut and braid a towel. We have that in a previous video if you want to learn how to make your own. You can use a bed sheet if you want, but if you wanted to purchase something, again, you don't have to, but they do sell stretching straps, and they have all of these different levels, so you can kind of adjust your tension. If I tried to hold both sides, my wingspan isn't big enough for that, but what I can do is even slide one hand through, and then slide another hand through the loop, And now I, for example, can get myself a better stretch back here. I can use this to help one arm along. If I want to, for example, lift my arms up, I can use that for some help too. So stretching straps come in pretty handy also. Elastic resistance. Definitely inexpensive and definitely worth it. We have a few different types. We keep ours a lot of the time with, it comes in a big roll and you cut off a length of it. So probably I would do like 3/4 of your wingspan potentially, right? So if I stretch this all the way out, my resistance is maybe half to 3/4 of my wingspan. And then what I like to do is tie a little loop in each end. So I literally just like take it, fold one side over, and then pull that loop through to tie, okay? And then I would pull that all the way tight. And what that does is it keeps this ready-made loop where if you want to put your whole hand through, of course you want fabric between your skin and the band, but if you want to put your whole hand through, you don't necessarily need dexterity to hold on to it. You can still get good resistance on your arm in a lot of different directions. And then also, if we're doing something where we put this in a door, you already have a knot tied. So then what you would do is throw this over the top of the door so the knot is hanging down, and then you would close the door shut, and then you would have some fixed resistance from overhead if that's an exercise that you're working on. So a convenient thing, once you do it, you don't have much more setup other than that. Moving on, half foam roll. So again, another pretty common item. You can find these used pretty often too. Of course, so just beware of where you're buying from. But this is excellent for postural support. If we're doing some exercises, again, kind of like the pillow, if you want to get away from the back of your chair, just enough that you have a little challenge without feeling like you don't have any support. You could put this behind you. You could do flat side facing you for a little bit more support, and you just kind of wedge this between your body and the chair again, as long as it feels safe for you, which is a little challenge, not too much. And then if you wanted to make it harder, you can even turn this around so that the round side faces your back. Okay, and you'll see this come up in a few different exercise videos that we have too. Not only can you add this into your seated work, but if you are working on a mat, laying down flat, if that's appropriate for your body, you can do the same thing, where actually in this case, if the round side is up, it's going to give you a little challenge to try and stay balanced on top of it. But if you turn it over, you have a lot more balance challenge. Foam rolls can also be really good for some trigger point release also. So not terribly expensive, a lot of different functional uses. So you'll see that come up. Okay, a ball. This could be any ball. You can buy a cheap one for little kids. You can find a basketball or a volleyball works fine, probably a little more expensive unless you already have one laying around. This particular ball, we just put numbers and letters onto. You can also find these pre-made. If you want to find that, look up a brain ball. It's a pretty cool piece of equipment, but it helps you to not only just use this for exercise purposes, catching, throwing, bouncing, maybe lateral support or balance with ball rollout, or trunk support, reaching forward and putting some pressure into the ball, right, with your chest and shoulders. But it can also bring some cognitive work into it. So, a lot of the time therapeutically, we talk about dual tasking, or just for fun, you shake things up a little bit and get your mind working on one thing while your body is trying to accomplish a different task. So that's why those come in handy. Okay, there's one item that is a little bit pricier, but I've had a lot of people tell me it's well worth the investment. So, speaking as someone who's not a wheelchair user, ambulatory, I don't find myself needing this too terribly often, but I would, for fitness variations, use different angles, right? But people that I work with who are wheelchair users tend to really, really like this piece of equipment. Again, it's a little pricier. It's not something that you have to buy, but you might find that if you really do want to continue with your home workouts especially, that it's really valuable to have one of these on hand. So this is a full wedge. You can look up different varieties of bolsters and wedges. And you can use it in a few different ways. You can use it to lay down, for example, with your head at the top, and then your body comes down and your legs go out onto the mat table, for one instance. You might, if you need to stack a couple of them, it's pretty nice. You can add some pillows on top of it to make it a little bit higher and keep the cost down. The other nice thing about this is you turn around back, you can sit, for example, here, and then use the broad side of this to support your low back. So again, if you normally have some support that goes higher up, but you want to get a little bit more challenge in a safe way, right, without totally removing your support, then you have the option of using something like this. And the surface, when put on, this is just a regular vinyl mat table, it sticks nicely. They do make another material like shelf liner that you can find just like at the grocery store or order it online. It's really inexpensive. It's a roll of almost like sticky material. You can just kind of look that up online and you'll see a lot of different pictures. But literally it's called shelf liner. And it prevents things from sliding because it's sticky. So another really great option to give you just that nudge into something that's a little bit more challenging so that your body can get better, but hopefully, again, in a safe way too. So that's basically all the stuff that we use. Not to say we use everything every time, but if you have any questions or you're trying to set up a little bit more of a home opportunity for exercise, please let us know. You can always reach out if you're looking for some more input or trying to figure out what works best for you. So you can see the information on the following slides. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks.